Welcome to That's Camellia podcast. Hey, we're going to unpack some of those questions that you have. We're going to interview some guests and let's have a conversation. Come on, enjoy the show. Oh, welcome back to That's Camellia podcast. Wow, I've had two amazing guests for the last couple of weeks. I had Dr. Mariah Prince Allen, and then I just recently had Deshauna Franklin, both nurse practitioners and hormone specialists. It has been a journey that I wanted to share with all of my listeners about this whole thing. Dr. Mariah said menopause is having a moment. Well, yeah, it's having a moment, and that moment doesn't get real and until it directly impacts you, which is what happened to me, which started me on this journey of trying to figure out life right in this stage. And I've come across a lot of women, some of my listeners, some of my dear friends, that at first we wasn't talking about menopause, hot flashes, sleep deprivation, weight gain. We wasn't talking about that. Although we were all individually experiencing it, some more than others. In my case, I just had about all of these 35 type of symptoms that happens during perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause. Oh, menopause is definitely having a moment. So, if you haven't listened to Dr. Mariah or Deshauna Franklin, go back and run back my last couple of episodes. They shared so much wisdom and insight and next steps and tips that we as women, and 100% of women, will encounter perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. We will all experience it. Now, of course, we will not all have the same symptoms, and we might not have all of them. You might have one or two. But can I get a witness? It really depends on which symptoms you have, on whether or not you think that you're in perimenopause, menopause, or postmenopause. For an example, if I only had sleep deprivation, I probably wouldn't tie that to menopause. If that was the only thing that was going on with me, I probably would have went to the doctor and got something to help me sleep, and if that fixed it, it would have been okay, right? So I think bringing awareness is one of my main goals, and to get women to start talking about it. You see Oprah talking about it now. Haley Berry is talking about it now. This is a real thing. This is happening. And I remember one of my girlfriends saying, "Well, I had one hot flash, and I didn't have. I just rebuked it. I prayed over it, and I didn't have any more hot flashes. But I might have a little weight gain." I don't know. Which one would you want? I don't know. I don't want any of the symptoms, really. I wanted to take time out in this episode just to bring some things to light that Dr. Mariah and Deshauna Franklin talked about previously. And I want to start with the one that really started for me. Well, it was two. It was the sleep deprivation and the hot flashes. But let's start with sleep. Okay, so I have been one of those women where I could take a nap anywhere. I mean, if I get settled and I get that and I'm just such at peace, most likely I'm going to take a little nap. And what I would say is, I'm going to close my eyes. It's this thing around with my daughters. I would tell them, "Oh, I'm finna go read my book or read my magazine," because my husband calls me a book snob. I love reading, just lifelong learner. We should all be lifelong learners. But the thing around the joke around my with my kids is if I tell them I'm gonna go read my book, they know mom's probably getting ready to take a nap. Not all the time. Not all the time. Now, occasionally, I love reading a good book, just a good book, good plot. I love reading those books, and magazines are filled with information, knowledge, and all of that. But I will definitely take a nap. So I am known to take naps. I love a good nap. Oh, an afternoon nap after lunch. It's so good, right? Okay. So when a couple of years ago, I started not being able to sleep. Uh-oh, wait a minute. I love sleeping because what would happen, I would wake up in the middle of the night. It felt like there was a furnace going on from the chest to the head. I was thinking, what in the world? Where is the air? I mean, in the middle of the night, I have to change clothes because my clothes are so wet because I've been sweating. And then I'm cutting down the air. I'm freezing my husband and my children in the house. So it was a whole, I kind of turned my house upside down when I was going through this sleep deprivation because if I couldn't sleep, something was going on. Because I would like to say, I was an avid sleeper. And we all need our sleep, right? So I went through this whole spell of not being able to sleep, and then of course when you can't sleep, you need mental clarity for the next day in order to function. You need mental clarity, and you can't have mental clarity without proper rest, right? Yes, you need sleep. So I started, that's where my journey began. I wasn't getting enough sleep. And so because I wasn't getting enough sleep, became irritable, kind of groggy, and then all of a sudden what I was experiencing at night, these hot flashes at night sweats at night, which was impacting my sleep, was now happening during the day. So, did you know that hormonal changes can impact our sleep quality? Yes, they can. They can impact our sleep quality. Now let's talk about that. Let's kind of unpack this part about sleep because that's where my journey began. Did you know that statistically about 80% of women experience sleep problems during menopause? 80% of women. So I wasn't the only one. Although my mind was trying to tell me, oh, you're the only one experiencing these issues. No, 80% of women experience sleep problems during menopause. That's a lot, y'all. So let's kind of tackle that piece of it. That's the part I want to kind of talk about. And like I said, go back to my previous episodes with Dr. Mariah and Deshauna Franklin. They're hormone specialists. They offered so much insight into what I'm talking about as well. And I want to also tell you at the beginning, the first thing you need to do if you are having sleep deprivation, hot flashes, go get your hormone levels checked, okay, by a hormone specialist or a gynecologist who specializes in hormonal studies, okay? Estrogen and progesterone decline in our bodies. And because they decline in our bodies, it disrupts our sleep patterns, which means that when our estrogen and progesterone is declining, that is what helps or starts to impact those hot flashes and night sweats that I was having. It significantly impacts the quality of sleep that we need. And there are many women that have a difficulty that They have a difficulty falling asleep and then staying asleep, right? It's one thing to fall asleep fast. It's something totally different when you can actually stay asleep, not waking up because you got a hot flash or waking up because you're wet and you got to change clothes. Now, I want to remind you that there are so many studies out there that target sleep deprivation and that will remind us as women that we need enough sleep. And if we don't get enough sleep, it impacts our physical health. So, sleep deprivation, it can make you cranky. It can make you have anxiety. It can even make you depressed. So, we need to have, I want to emphasize the importance of getting a quality amount of sleep. It completely impacts our overall well-being and our daily functions. Remember, you need mental clarity to function the next day, and you can't function 100% if you've only had 2 hours of sleep uninterrupted. Because we might be able to go to sleep, but staying asleep, that's a totally different thing. So here's some things, and the first thing, like I said, go get your levels checked. And another thing is some tips that I started doing is I started making sure that the house was at the right temperature, trying not to freeze out my husband and my kids, but picking an ideal temperature for your house, for your room. I liked it dark. I liked it dark when I slept. And I didn't need, before I could go to sleep without anywhere. I mean, a football game could be going on and I would still take a nap. But when this started happening, this season in my life started happening, I wanted it completely quiet. Just quiet, dark, and the right temperature. So be mindful of those things. And then also, I had to start getting on a consistent sleep pattern. I mean, a regular sleep pattern. What is going to work for you? What's a good time? When does your house shut down? And be intentional about it. Start, incorporating certain routines to get your body ready to go to sleep. Like, it's time to go to sleep. Just like we start winding down our kids, it's time to go to sleep. So we have to start retraining our body with a different routine to, okay, we're getting ready to go to sleep. I'm not going to be drinking a lot of water. If a warm bath helps you, take a warm bath. But if it's, dark room, quiet, right temperature, if those things help you, start doing them. These are just small tips. And the biggest thing might be just to get your levels checked. And then also, mindful eating. I mean, a lot of this is going to tie into a lifestyle change. It is going to be a lifestyle change, ladies. So if you like your glass of wine, you can still drink your glass of wine, but be mindful. If wine is a trigger for you, you need to cut wine out. Or if you don't want to cut it out, you'll just have a hot flash. Or you might wake up in the middle of the night. Wine was not a trigger for me, but some of my girlfriends, it is a trigger for them. So what did they have to do? They have to change it up. Maybe they don't drink wine. Maybe they drink champagne. But recognize this is individual. What works for me might not work for you. But these are just some tips that I've learned on this journey, and I wanted to share them with you. Okay? So mindful eating, start eating things that are lighter, balanced diet. Avoid like the heavy meals that are close to bedtime, something that's light that'll help you. It won't sit so heavy on your stomach at night. And then I would like to say, some breathing techniques, the mindfulness breathing in and breathing out. Those are some tips. I also wanted to highlight medical intervention. That's what I needed. That's what I personally needed. So that's where you would talk to your Dr. Mariah or Deshauna Franklin, who's local in Texas for us. But that's who you would talk to about some type of hormonal therapy for sleep disturbances that can help you. You might need some medication, and that's okay. Medication is okay. Coaching is okay. You know, whatever is going to work for you. I don't want you to be judged about you taking care of you. Okay? So I just wanted to come on here just to remind you of some different tips that I use along with medical intervention and just to encourage you that you are not out here by yourself. Remember the statistic I gave you, 80% of women encounter sleep deprivation during menopause. So you're not alone, you're not by yourself. Share your stories with me. Let me know what your thoughts are, and let me know if you want to share your story on That's Camellia podcast.
All right, that's all we have for today. Join me next time on That's Camellia podcast, where we're going to continue our conversations. Make it a great day.